Joining us now, a veteran of Vancouver sports media out at Global Vancouver. He asked many of the tough questions yesterday. Mr. Jay Janower, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Happy New Year to both you and Blake. It's been far too long. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. So you've been in there in a lot of tough Vancouver press conferences over the years, Jay. What did you make of Rutherford's performance yesterday?
I thought it was outstanding. A veteran of the hockey world who stood there, took the fastballs, dug in, took his swings back. I may not have liked all the answers I got from him, but I thought it was a great performance from somebody who's in charge of an organization. But I questioned why Patrick Allvin wasn't there. He's ultimately the team general manager who's supposed to be making these trades. I was surprised that he wasn't there, but I thought Jim Rutherford did a magnificent job from his perspective.
We've talked about this before the Canucks went to this sort of format, but I think we do have to just reevaluate what the titles mean in this organization. We've seen this in other organizations, Jay, where, and I think the Avalanche were one of the first when Sekeres took over there and had a GM beneath him. I mean, really, in this scenario, the president is what we previously thought of as a GM, and the GM is really a senior AGM. Isn't that effectively what we're looking at here?
Yeah, but here's what I worry about. Like Jim Rutherford, he told us that he wants to stick it out. He wants to be here for at least a couple more years. But when he's gone, somebody's going to have to ascend to that role. You would assume it would be Patrick Allvin. He needs to be in front of the camera. He needs to have a relationship. You need to be able to be a conduit for us, the media, to the season ticket holders, to Canucks Nation. And I also think it helps alleviate some of the pressure that builds when you're having a season like this, when you only see the general manager or the president once or twice a season.
Jay, there were a number of topics covered yesterday that Canucks fans are talking about today, some of them on questions you asked. What did you make of the fact that he now says major surgery is required, that it is in fact a bigger job?
I was confused afterwards by it, guys. I was confused, guys, because I asked him several times to try to get clarification on the core. Because when you look at this hockey team for the last 3 seasons, I don't care if it's Travis Green who's behind the bench or Bruce Boudreau, who I have a great affinity for, this team doesn't want to play defense, or it's not capable of playing defense. So that starts with your core. If you can't get your core to lead everyone else around you to either block more shots or be more responsible in your own end zone, you're dead in the water. And that's what we're seeing right now. Thatcher Demko hid so many defensive warts for this hockey team for the better part of 2 seasons. Those are exposed now with average goaltending that what we're seeing. So for him to say, well, I still believe in the core, but at the same time, we're going to need major surgery, maybe it means moving out a core piece. I was confused, guys. I still don't know if we're trading a core piece member. Obviously, we know Bo Horvat's done, from what Jim Rutherford said yesterday. But you can't stop there. You just can't, because this team isn't good enough, and we've seen this core together for far too many years to say, you got to blow it up. You have to blow it up. What does blowing it up look like? Maybe we find out between now and March, but I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that Jim told us, listen, we can't make trades. Well, wait a second. You overhauled your front office. You brought in all these new, fresh hockey minds. Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? Aren't you supposed to be figuring out how to create small wins? Maybe you're not going to hit a home run. Nobody's going to take Oliver Ekman-Larsson's contract, but you have to, and your team, figure out a way. And I'm confused by it all, guys. I don't know where we're heading down, what road we're heading down.
Do you feel like we're still trying to communicate, the fans and media, to management, that the wins and losses on any given night are not the thing, are not the subject of the ire of fans? Because it still feels like he's trying to placate the wins and losses column rather than the long haul of being a true contender and going through the process. I still felt like he was defending the wins and loss column.
Blake, you bring up a very good point, and I have a great deal of respect for Jim Rutherford, but when I heard a lot of those answers, and when I started talking to him about draft capital, how much draft choices, draft picks are capital in today's NHL world, and how you have to use your cap to your benefit, I wonder if the game's passed him by the way that the game is right now. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the more that I heard yesterday, the more I'm thinking, am I listening to Jim Benning here, or am I listening to, supposedly, a hockey genius. And let's take nothing away from the success that Jim Rutherford has had over the years, but they're answers that I don't think sit well with Canucks fans. And that's why I actually read out a message that was sent to me by a Canucks season ticket holder, a loyal ticket holder, that said he has completely lost faith in this organization. And I think what should be a major concern for this team and the ownership group is people are getting disenfranchised with the organization. People don't want to watch hockey anymore. Yeah, they're still upset. But when people start tuning you out and start saying, I'm not renewing my season tickets and I don't care about this hockey team anymore, I'm done, you've got to worry about that. That's long-term disaster.
Jay, you mentioned the affinity you have for Bruce Boudreau. Buddy, you and I have both been at a ton of these press conferences over the years. I cannot, in my recollection, think of one where the GM or the president, whomever, talks openly about having interviewed replacement candidates with the guy still in the job, without the job actually being void, and looking for a new head coach. I'd like your 2 cents on that part of yesterday, and as well as the potential of Rick Tocchet, whom everyone seems to think is the next coach of the Vancouver Canucks.
Let's start backwards and then we'll go forwards. I have no idea what the infatuation with Rick Tocchet is. I appreciated Rick Tocchet as a hockey player. I have not seen much from Rick Tocchet behind the bench. Is he a Travis Green 2.0? Are you going to shut down Elias Pettersson and say, you know what, I want you to be better in your own end. I want you to score 60 points as opposed to 100, 120. I don't know why Rick Tocchet is so high on this organization's depth chart. I don't get it. And I don't understand what the rush is to fire Bruce Boudreau right now when you can have perhaps greater choices in the offseason. What did you bring in Yao for? What is Mike Yao here for? If you're so upset with Bruce Boudreau, and obviously he's not your guy, we've known that from day one, make the move, let Mike Yao take over, and then make the changes afterwards. The way Bruce Boudreau has been handled, I think looks so poorly on this organization, Matt. I'm with you. Hey, I respect Jim Rutherford for the way that he was honest with us, but Boudreau, and if I'm any good person, I'm thinking to myself, first off, you said that you're my friend. This is how you're treating me. I'm doing my best to win hockey games. And let's be honest, the Canucks have played hard in a lot of the third periods. They haven't got the results for whatever reason. They still want to play for Bruce Boudreau because they respect Bruce Boudreau. He's a hockey guy. Does he play the structure that they want? Obviously not. But they knew that. They gave him a 1-year contract extension. To treat a guy that's had all the success in the world that Bruce has without mind you, I think is wrong, and I think it sheds a horrible light on this management team and the organization. That's my personal
The thrust of the Rutherford press conference overshadowed the intention of the press conference, which began with the Tanner Pearson-ish section, because nothing was said. 2 healthcare professionals trotted out that say virtually nothing because they say they can't. And it's sort of this pageant of, I don't know, that was weird. And it almost seemed like they were trying to fulfill some sort of legal box here in anticipation of something big coming down the road in the future here. But that was an awkward start and poorly thought out, I think, from the Vancouver Canucks.
I agree, Blake, and I've heard from people in the hockey world, I will not mention their names, who are absolutely flabbergasted to see the team's head physician there, as well as the person who's in charge of all your training staff, sitting beside the president, talking to us about injuries. Flabbergasted. They couldn't believe it. They said never in their wildest dreams would they do that in their organization. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking with high-level people who reached out to me, and I reached out to them telling me this. Why would you put your physician in that position? Because it's my job to ask these questions. But also ask yourself this. Why is it that the Toronto Maple Leafs can put out a press release yesterday detailing the injuries of 2 players who are completely done for the season? They had no problems revealing their injuries. The NHL is still a dinosaur league run by old men that are so far out of touch with reality. I'm waiting for a gaming company, one of the betting sites, that has ponied up with the NHL to say enough is enough. You need to be like the National Football League, the NBA, so that if Matt Sekeres breaks his ankle and he needs surgery, Matt broke his ankle, he's had 3 rods put in there, he's gone for the season. Fans deserve that, the way that betting's on board. But I thought It was just bizarre, guys. It was absolutely bizarre. And I felt bad for them sitting up there.
Yeah.
There you go, Blake. I'm on LTIR. You got some cap cushion now. You can bring in Janower to co-host the show with
yes.
you.
Lower
Okay?
body-
Yes.
He's
lower
put me in
body
the
injury.
infirmary here. Jay, lastly, and switching gears here, but needless to say, anybody who's covered the Vancouver Canucks and been in the press box at Rogers Arena has had their encounters with the one and only Gino Ojic. We'd like your thoughts and memories of a truly outstanding person and Canuck.
Yeah, Matt, Blake, in our job, when you're on it as long as we are, you form friendships and you do form bonds, not just inside the room, but off it. And I was fortunate that Gino called me a brother. I spent a lot of time with Gino on the golf course when he was still able to golf. And the thing about Gino, and you've heard it a lot, and I'm also very close to the First Nations community, having grown up in Prince George. My best friend's mom is an elder, respected elder. He meant so much to so many people because he wasn't Gino Ojic, the NHL player. He was Gino Ojic, who would make you feel so warm, so comfortable, so welcome. He had a special gift that put you at ease, and it was like you were sitting beside your brother, your uncle, your father. His heart was so big, guys, and to see him not be put in the Ring of Honor for me is a tragedy. And I hope the Canucks rethink their position, because when you see the outpouring of support for this man across our province, across our country, he most definitely belongs in the Ring of Honor. This City Hall in Vancouver has lowered the flag indefinitely, our Canadian flag. That tells you what Gino Ojic meant to this community.
Well, Jay, we were reminiscing yesterday that when he fell ill in June 2014 there, hundreds of fans holding vigil outside of VGH. I mean, how many athletes, how many people have that sort of effect on the public? Gino was one of them. He had a very, very special way with people. Buddy, thank you for your insight here. I much appreciate the time. Great to hear your voice, Jay. Let's catch up soon.
Gentlemen, wishing you continued health, happiness, and success in 2023. And hopefully we'll chat on the golf course one of these fine days when it warms up in the sun.
Oh, I need a lot of strokes,
Please.
particularly with my shattered ankle here. Okay?
Oh, yes, right. With the one with the rods. Yes. Yes.
From Global BC, Jay Janower. Thanks, Jay.